Ever get home from an epic ride, hit play, and realize that your action camera made it look like you were riding through a Minecraft world? Well, that ends today. We have two cameras, same ride, one winner. We're gonna pit the Insta360 X5 against the new DJI Osmo to see which one actually captures the ride the way you felt it, and which one earns a spot on your handlebars. Because let's face it, these things aren't cheap, and you deserve the one that's worth every penny. But before we dive in, you need to know that I am sponsored by Insta360. They help keep this channel alive and the lights on in the garage. Their cameras are a mainstay in every video that we make. So I'm going to tag this video as paid promotion because A, I will have some coupon codes for you at the end of the video, but more importantly, I want to be totally upfront with you. But here's the thing, Insta360 asked me to make this comparison between their shiny new X5 and the brand new DJI Osmo Action 360. And when I say asked, I mean they got on a video call and said, Dave, be brutally honest. They said that they believe in their camera and they think real feedback helps them make it better, which shows a lot of confidence or a dangerous lack of self-preservation. Either way, let's find out. So here we go with the good, the bad, and the mildly embarrassing. Now on paper, both of these are amazing 360 cameras. They're both tiny technological miracles that let us capture our rides like we've got a film crew strapped to the handlebars. But like any bit of kit, it's in the small details where they can make your life easier or turn your Sunday ride into an exercise in frustration and potato quality footage. I mean, maybe I'm in a unique situation, but I do not want to spend hours trying to learn how to use a new piece of technology. I need to be able to turn it on and trust it's going to do what it promises. So I didn't just stare at spec sheets. I put these cameras through two very different motorcycle tests. A day at the racetrack, which is about the most brutal environment you can throw a motorcycle camera into. I mean, high speeds, fast changes in light, insane vibrations, and enough wind noise to register as a weather event. And a day of real-world street riding, because this is where most of us live. Shadows from trees and variable lighting and all the subtle motion that can make footage look choppy. Both cameras were set to my preferred settings, 8K, 24 frames per second. And here's a quick, nerdy but important detour. Motorcycle footage is brutal on any camera, no matter how expensive, 360 or traditional. And that's because of all the tiny high contrast details moving in different directions. Think of leaves and tree branches and gravel and the road surface or grass and all those things. Digital video uses interframe compression, which saves data by storing only the changes between consecutive frames. If I'm the only thing moving, the background is treated like one static image. But when nearly every pixel changes 24 or 30 or 60 times per second, the system struggles, and you get banding, big blended blocks of color. And you can see this especially in skies or dark scenes. And this is why even high-end motorcycle footage can look a little rough on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, YouTube recompresses everything again when you upload the file. So some of that fine detail gets lost no matter what. It's the great equalizer. That's why once you're at this high level, specs like 8K or 10-bit start to matter less than the overall usability of the camera. But anyway, let's get into this. Now on paper, the Osmo comes out swinging a slightly larger sensor up to 8K, 50 frames per second, and 10-bit. The X5 counters with triple the image processing power, 3 chips processing the image compared to DJI's 1 chip, replaceable lenses, better app integration, and a pile of AI features. And we cannot ignore the incredibly deep catalog of accessories. In reality, both are fantastic in good light. The Osmo's 10-bit gives you a little more flexibility in post-production, especially for cinematic projects. But for my workflow, and especially with YouTube, the difference becomes pretty subtle. It's more important to get the shot than it is to get the perfect shot. And aside from a few settings, I leave almost all of my cameras in automatic mode. Now, let's get to the bit that will keep you from saying bad words into your helmet: lenses. This is the biggest real-world divider for motorcycle use. 360 cameras and the fisheye lens are all prone to damage. I know I've damaged my fair share of them. The new X5 uses a much harder film-protected replaceable lens. They can be replaced in seconds, but despite all my best efforts, I haven't managed to scratch the lenses on my workhorse X5. But if you manage to scratch one, you just twist it off, pop on a new one, and be rolling again before my friends have finished complaining about the gas station coffee. No downtime, no shipping your camera off, no Hope this gets back before my next ride. The Osmo, on the other hand, uses a non-replaceable lens design. If you damage the lens itself, the whole camera has to go back to DJI for repair. They do offer a decent deal, free replacement once if you've got DJI Care, or around $25 per lens without. But the turnaround means you're without your camera for days or weeks. DJI lenses are not as clear when the light isn't as bright. I feel like you can really see the reduction in image clarity. It's a bit like wearing gas station sunglasses. I mean, sure, they work fine, but everything looks a little less crisp, especially in challenging conditions, low light, shooting into the sun, or mixed shadows. You can see a drop in the clarity. Oh, and it does fog up in rain or humid environments, which there's been several reports of already. And if it does this, congratulations, you've invented abstract art. For a motorcycle rider, and this might be all that really matters here, this boils down to peace of mind. The X5 lets me ride without worrying that one stray rock or bug or rogue bit of gravel will end my shooting day. With the Osmo, I'd be riding with that little voice in my head saying, please don't scratch the lens. And I already have enough little voices in my head while riding. Now again, trying to be totally honest here, the app is a lot less important for me and my workflow because I move everything into my editing suite to integrate the footage into whatever video I'm working on. But I'm willing to bet the app is a huge part of your workflow. And this is where Insta360 has a little bit of an edge for me. The app is snappy, accessory detection is automatic, and the reframing tools feel like they were designed by someone who actually uses them. The Osmo app works fine, but it's slower to export and reframing isn't quite as intuitive. That said, DJI has been improving their software steadily, and if they keep that pace, this could get much closer. But one thing I couldn't help notice, DJI's menus and even their app look remarkably like Insta360's. Now, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and I totally get it. This is how product design works. And in some ways, it's a plus. If you've used one, you can move between the two without having to retrain your brain. But the similarities are so on the nose that I actually found it a little bit off-putting. Like when your favorite burger joint suddenly serves fries in the exact same red carton as McDonald's. It still works, but you can't help thinking, really, we're doing this? Outside of the app itself, they use different file formats. INSVs versus OSVs, which means you have to use each company's proprietary software to work with the files on your machine. They also both have unique Adobe Premiere 360 reframe plugins. Physically, the two cameras have very different body shapes. The Insta360 X5 is long and narrow, while the Osmo is short and, let's say, confidently squat. In practice, I found the X5's slimmer body easier to work with, especially when mounted out on the invisible stick. Now, for most riders, this probably won't be a deciding factor, but here's one where Trackday folks will nod in agreement. A lot of racetracks limit your camera mount to a maximum length of 3 inches from the mounting point. In that case, the X5's extra length actually works in your favor. You can get the lens out a little bit further without breaking the rules, which gives you a slightly better perspective. And then there's the one aspect of video quality that nobody actually talks about, audio. Both cameras allow you to Bluetooth pair to a headset. But when it comes to capturing the ride, the engine note, the exhaust, the mechanical soundtrack, the X5 just crushes the Osmo. The built-in wind muff and smarter audio processing cut out most of the wind roar, so you can actually hear the bike work. The low-end rumble, the mid-range growl. And since both of my bikes are V4s, you know, the greatest engine soundtrack in the world, the engine is a sound I want to hear. And with the X5, it all comes through without being buried under a wall of wind noise and static. The Osmo's onboard mic, it's not terrible, except it is. Like a hotel continental breakfast, technically edible, but you wouldn't choose it if you had literally any other option. It lets in far more wind noise, which drowns the engine and leaves you with a soundtrack that sounds like something between a swarm of angry murder hornets and a wind tunnel. If you end up with the DJI, you'll need to stick some dead cats over the microphone. Yeah, that's actually what they're called. And I'll link to the ones that I use in the description. But here's the thing. If you want your video to come across as professional or high quality, natural sound is non-negotiable. Viewers might forgive an average shot, but bad sound will have them clicking away in seconds. Let them hear the bike and you're halfway to making them feel like they're right there with you. And this has actually been one of the biggest reasons I've used Insta360 cameras long before we had an official partnership. For motorcycle content, clean audio is 3/5 of the story. The Osmo just isn't there. Wind noise and muffled mids make it harder to use raw, straight out of the camera audio without a lot of extra work in editing or turning off such an important part of what makes good video good video.
Hey, so quick heads up. This wasn't planned, but as I was wrapping up this edit, I got an email from Insta360. Their end of season sale is going on right now through August 31st. And honestly, if you've been thinking about a 360 camera, which if you're watching this video, you probably are, don't sleep on this. And here's the thing. As I was making this video, it made me realize how great 360 cameras are. You just mount it someplace cool and then mostly just forget about it. That means I don't have to stop, reset, or fuss with gear. I just enjoy the ride. And later on, I got all these killer angles to choose from. And after comparing it directly with my DJI, I gotta say the Insta really shines, the X5 in particular. I mean the sound quality blows me away. For moto content, this is a game changer. So yeah, if you've been on the fence, now's the time before this sale ends. Links down in the description.
Now, at the track, both cameras held up better than I expected, but the X5 stabilization was slightly smoother at high lean angles where the horizon can get adventurous. The Osmo's higher frame rate could be great if you're into slow motion, but since I shoot in 24 frames per second for that cinematic look and a little bit more motion blur, it doesn't really matter that much for me. Also, a lot of digital cameras will put this weird halo around a subject or high contrast area, but the DJI's is really noticeable. Now, on the street, the video quality was closer still. Both handled changing light well. The X5's adaptive tone mapping kept more shadow detail without blowing out the sky. The Osmo's color felt a little bit flatter right out of the camera, but that's easy to fix in editing. And color saturation comes down to the taste of the creator. So look, I don't think split screens can tell the whole story. So I've uploaded 4 raw, straight from the camera to YouTube video files. Insta and DG on the racetrack, and then 2 more for a quick run over a local canyon. And I'm gonna put links to those videos down in the description. But I'd really encourage you to go watch them on their own. They are 360 files, so if you watch them on your phone, you can look around by moving your phone around, or you can, if you watch it on your desktop, you can look around by using the arrow keys to navigate the frame. So here's the quick breakdown. The Insta360 X5's biggest wins are those replaceable film-protected lenses, its slim body that cuts through the wind, cleaner audio with the built-in wind muff, and that's a big one, and a mountain of accessories. Add in the faster, smarter app and the adaptive tone mapping, and it's built for motorcycle life. The downsides, it's a little heavier. It tops out at 30 frames per second instead of 50, and you don't get the 10-bit color. The DJI Osmo Action 360 fights back with a slightly larger sensor, higher frame rates, 10-bit color, and even some internal storage so you can shoot without a card. That's one I really like. But you can't swap the lenses yourself. It's a trip back to DJI if you damage one, and it's got fewer accessory options. Plus, I found the shorter squat form was harder to stuff it in weird places, and it catches more wind. But here's the thing. On a motorcycle, you don't want to baby your camera. You want it to take bugs and rain and gravel. And the X5 just feels more motorcycle proof. Lenses you can swap, waterproof to 15 meters, and an actual built-in wind guard for the mic. But if you're deep in the DJI ecosystem, the Osmo Action 360 is a solid choice. It does have great image quality, 10-bit flexibility, and a slightly smaller, lighter body. I really did want to give the DJI every possible consideration. I poked it, I prodded it, I took it to the track and out here on the street. I even said nice things about its frame rate. And it's an impressive first attempt, no question. But apples to apples, and especially dollar to dollar, the Insta is still the better camera for motorcycle life. I mean, the only real reason I can see to get the Osmo is if you're already deep in the DJI ecosystem, and swapping would be like divorcing your high school sweetheart. Now, if you want to know more, I do have links down below. The Insta links are affiliate, which help keep fuel in the tank and coffee in the cup. Have a coupon code for you. Costs you nothing extra, but it does help keep the channel going. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could click like and hit subscribe, or maybe leave a comment about which camera or which feature is most important to you. Again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next ride.